Hello and welcome to another What Sold video. This is everything that sold for me on my not live selling platform. The second week of August, so that's August 8th to August 14th. And we're gonna scoot over here and I'm gonna share with you the Poshmark sale, because I did actually make a Poshmark sale. I sold this Nationals New with Tag 3/4 shirt. Sold it for $10. I paid $2 for this at an estate sale. Had it for forever. When someone sent me a $10 offer, I immediately snapped that up. So grateful that it sold. And of course, this sale is made possible thanks to Vendoo. Vendoo is a cross-listing service that I do use. And anytime you guys see a sale that is not eBay, it is thanks to Vendoo. So super happy about this. Scoot over here, and we're going to go onto eBay, because eBay is the main bay. This is a trade paperback edition of The Goldfinch. The Goldfinch is an award-winning, a Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, and if you find it signed and hardcover in first edition, it is a $100 book. If you find just a regular trade paperback, it is an $8.50 book with free shipping. I paid 25 cents for this at the bins, so perfectly happy to make a couple dollars and keep an award-winning book out of the landfill. This is a thank you to Taylor. Taylor gave me a bunch of stuff when we went to the bins together, and this was one of those items. This is a Elizaveta, which is a ModCloth brand, and this got so much attention and just so many lowball offers, like $20 or less. And so I was like, I'm just going to hold out. And so I held out, because normally when I get a bunch of lowball offers, when I first list something, it's going to sell for full price. Well, it never did. And this is like 6 months plus later. So when I got an offer for $30, I just went ahead and accepted it, because they were also going to pay, $12 for shipping. And I got this for free from Taylor. And it also was missing like the fleece lining for the hood. So it wasn't like 100% flawless. But it was absolutely adorable. So kawaii is cute in Japanese, and then coquette has to do with the styling, because it's very like cutesy and like pink and girly. I don't know how else to describe coquette, but both of those are really good keywords to use for this style of clothing. Again, Taylor, thank you so much. 100% free to me. All right, this has a little bit of a note to it. All right, so this, I pick up cross-stitch patterns when I find them at the bins. I pay 25 cents each for them, so I have 50 cents into these two little notes, or two little patterns. I sold these again in August. I have had, since August, 5 messages on eBay asking if I still had the old Tobacco Barn, because I'm guessing they saw a sold comp or whatever. I don't know how they found this sold. But I've gotten 5 messages for this specific listing, and or from my other Alma Lynn listings, asking if I have the old Tobacco Barn pattern. So I don't know why that particular pattern has become exceptionally popular this month, but if you find the old Tobacco Barn pattern from Alma Lynn, people want to buy it. I did sell both of these together for $6.87. I could probably sell just the old Tobacco Barn for probably $10 if I had it still now, but I'm guessing we're going into the seasons where people are like inside and doing crafts, so maybe that's why. I don't know. I just thought that that was important to note, that the old Tobacco Barn pattern is being very much sought after right now. So if you list it on eBay, chances are it will sell pretty well. This is Mountain Makings in the Smokies, a cookbook from 1957. I picked this up at the bins, so I have 25 cents into this book. I pick up vintage cookbooks whenever I find them. These Appalachian cookbooks can do really well, because there's like a couple of specific recipes in them that are hard to find that people want. That's something you guys told me. But I just pick them up because I think they're neat. And sold for $12.87, again with free shipping. If you're wondering why I do free shipping, I don't always do free shipping on the books, but I do it on most books if they weigh less than like 3 pounds. 3 pounds or less, and that is because I have buy 3 get 1 free on my eBay store for books, and that kind of like entices people to do that. This is an LA Dodgers hat. I picked this up at the bins as well. Sold for $8.88, and the buyer paid for shipping for this. I paid like $1, I think, per hat. Or actually, I think they weigh the hats. they do weigh the hats, so it's $1.29 per pound. Weighs like less than 8 ounces. So yeah, really cheap. The American Yawp. So this is a book I picked up at that big fill a bag sale at that church that I went to. So I have, a quarter or less into this book, sold for $14.87. Love that for me. Vintage horror, vintage gothic horror. These vintage horror paperbacks can do very well. This is The Ghost of Channing House by Genevieve St. John. So it's a gothic horror romance book. I don't know how else to describe it. Regardless, it sold for $16.87. I paid 25 cents for this at the restore. Thought that was awesome. This is a quilt that I rescued from the bin. So, that's a pay by the pound. So I probably have $5 into this quilt because their quilts are heavy. And I did have to repair this. So not only, whenever I buy a quilt from the bins, the first thing I do, of course, is wash it in hot water to make sure there's nothing that comes into my house that I don't want to stay in my house. And then once it's dry, I will lay it out on the bed like it is in this picture, and I will pull every seam, every piece to make sure that the stitching hasn't come undone. If the stitching has come undone, I will re-stitch it back together because I know how to do that. And if there are any holes, I will patch them with similar fabric. You don't have to do that. You can just disclose the stuff and people will still buy vintage and antique quilts, even if they're damaged, even if they've got some stains on them, because like true vintage quilts are an art and their history and they're amazing. And so this one, I fixed it and someone bought it for me for $50. I like doing this. Again, you don't have to do it. This is one of those, projects that I turned into profit. And it is something that I like doing because the sustainability is really big for me. And I love it. This is Charm, the 5th book in the Crave series by Tracy Wolf. It sold for $12.87. And the book I bought at the bin, so I paid 50 cents for this. This is a Fox Racing t-shirt. I picked this up at the Dab in Gloucester. I paid $1 for it. It sold for $14. Anton Chekhov. I got this book at the big book buyout I did last August. I have 10 cents into this book. It sold for $19.87. Vintage history books do well. This is a viewer sale. So Shelby, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. They bought this set of vintage trivets for $12.87. And then these 2 pieces of clothing, this 90s Jansen piece, which Melissa actually gave to me because she hoped it would fit me. It is sadly too big for me. So I did end up selling it. And then this Bob Mackie piece. Bob Mackie, of course, mostly sold on QVC now, but he was the main designer for like Cher, and when Cher was the most shared in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So amazing. $34.74. You can see I refunded. That's because I was able to combine everything into one package, so I just refunded them the shipping overage. So Shelby, again, thank you. This is also another viewer sale. Sharon, thank you. But I found these. I wanted to save them because they were in brilliant condition, and they bought this for me for $30.87. Again, it's free shipping, and these were heavy, thick cookbooks, but still glad to save some stuff from the landfill and move them on to a new home. Another viewer sale, Suzanne, thank you so much. Suzanne took advantage of my buy 3, get 1 free offer on books. So Suzanne, thank you so much. I do appreciate you not only supporting my channel here on YouTube, but supporting my business and keeping a roof over my head. I appreciate that. She bought 4 paperback books, The Night Eternal by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan, which is kind of a horror book. Gravesite by Charlene Harris. Gravesite is like murder mystery, ghost murder mystery by Charlene Harris, who's most well known for writing True Blood. The True Blood series, or the Sookie Stackhouse series is what the book's called. True Blood is what it got turned into as a TV show. And then The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins, which if you ever find a copy of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, for $1 or less, you can go ahead and pick it up if it's in good shape, and it will immediately sell for you. You won't make a whole lot from it, but it will immediately sell for you. It's a good thing to have in your bookstore if you have a bookstore. The next book is The Blackbird Girls, which is a YA novel. It was an advanced reading copy, otherwise known as an ARC or an uncorrected proof, which is normally sent out to book reviewers, either from traditional media like newspapers, magazines, blogs. Blogs are not traditional media, but like Book Talk, booktubers. They're also sent to bookstores, so that way employees can read the books and talk about them to sell them. But when I find them at the bins, I always pick them up and then sell them. But the whole bundle sold for $27.08, and of course, free shipping. But I really appreciate that, Susan, and I hope that you love the books. This next sale is actually a viewer sale. Eric is a supporter of my book channel as well as this channel, and they bought these two books, the copy of The Dangling Man by Sal Bello, which is his most well-known work, and a vintage copy of A History of the Hatfields and the McCoys from the 80s, which is a real feud that happened, and I do pick up history books when I find them. I have a total of 60 cents in these books, so Eric, I do appreciate you saving a vintage book from the trash and also picking up a classic from me, and I do appreciate your support, Eric. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you love the books, so thank you. I modeled this one. You can tell how long it's been in my inventory because it's a full body shot of me. It's a 90s dress. I thought that this would sell so much faster and for more money because this is peak 90s to me. This is definitely something that when I think of the 90s, I think of a dress like this, but it took forever. It took 2 years to sell, sold for $20, and happy it moved on to a new home. Indian 2 Feet and His Horse. I have talked about how I love picking up vintage children's books because they can be valuable and they do sell for me. This is from 1959. Sometimes even when they're written in, like this one had the kid's name in it, can still be valuable as long as they're like colored in or over. If it's just like their name written in it, that's normally fine. If they're colored on, I leave them behind. If they're chewed on, I leave them behind. But that's why most of these kids' books are valuable or can be valuable, is because, kids kid all over the books and destroy them. So $9.87, I found this at the bins. This is a vintage Michael Moorcock book. I did put this up for sale on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot for $2, so I was more than happy to put it up on eBay where I knew it was worth more. But I do offer up all of my genre fiction, if I don't keep it, on Whatnot first. And then if it doesn't sell on Whatnot, I just add it to my eBay store. Works out great for me, regardless of which way it goes, because either way, I'm going to be making a profit, and it's either you get a really good deal on a book or you get an okay deal. Red Hot Recipes. I found this at the bins. I paid 25 cents for this. It is a vintage cookbook, which is why I looked at it, but it's also signed by one of the players, Frank Musil. I actually looked through it because I was like, what is this? What is this? But it's like recipes from the wives of the hockey players for this team from 1990. And then it was signed by the guy and his wife, that recipe. But none of the other players signed it. So I don't know why that particular one did, but sold for $19.87. Sometimes it's just it pays to just be curious about stuff. So that is what I did here. Another vintage kids book. This is a vintage Rand McNally book from I believe the 60s. Sold for $9.87. Again, same thing with the Indian 2 Feet book. Vintage kids books can be valuable, and I like saving them from the landfill. So this was a great sale because all of these chainsaw chains were free to me. Tommy, who is a friend of my partner, as well as his landlord, does commercial real estate. Somebody didn't pay their bill, so he had to evict them out of one of his commercial spaces, and they left all of their crap behind. And towards the end of them clearing it out, he offered for us to come and look, and if we wanted anything, to take it. I got an amazing Z rack out of it, clothing rack out of it, and some other stuff that I thought might sell because they were brand new in the box. And so I got a whole case of these chainsaw chains and put them up for sale, and they sat for a while but then I guess storms started to happen because it's August, and somebody bought all of them. They bought all of them, which is why it sold for $49.35, and they paid $15 for shipping. So that was great. I love making $50 off of free to me stuff. Dragon Ball Z shirt. If you are a viewer of the channel and you tried to buy this from me off of Poshmark, and I'm like, I can't find it, this is why. It's because it sold on eBay and I forgot to delete it because I had listed this when I was doing manual cross-listing instead of doing it through Vendoo. So Vendoo didn't have record of this one, which is also why Vendoo is awesome, is because it does the auto delist feature. Again, I love the fact that Vendoo exists and works well for me now. So I'm sorry, but you got some books and that sale will be talked about later. But this is where the shirt went. Somebody else bought it off of eBay for my full asking price of $9.87. I believe I bought this for like $3 because I was trying to make another shirt cheaper from Goodwill. So regardless, I'm happy that this sold. And again, if you were the viewer that tried to buy this from me off of Poshmark in a bundle, I'm sorry. I suck. This is the Happy Hollisters. I pick up the Happy Hollisters hardcovers when I find them because they sell for me $13.87. It's similar to the Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, where like the ones from the 50s, 60s, and 70s sell pretty well and can sell by themselves, which is why I picked them up. This is a thank you to Rob. Rob, massive supporter of both my book channel, my Twitch channel, and this YouTube channel, bought this for me to give to a friend who I believe is unwell. Hopefully they're doing much better now. It's an Anthropology mug. I've talked about, I did a video about like valuable mugs. I still pick them up when I find them. Anthropology is one of the brands of mugs that I find their housewares are valuable. So if you can get them for cheap, great to pick up. I paid $1 for this, sold for $14.87 to Rob, so thank you so much. The Lost World by Michael Crichton. This is a 1995 hardcover, sold for $10.87. I have bought and sold this book multiple times, both on Whatnot and on eBay. Sometimes it sells for more on eBay, sometimes it sells for more on Whatnot. It just depends on if someone gets a deal on Whatnot or if it gets bid up. But I have bought and sold this book 4 or 5 times by now. I will always pick it up at the bins when I find it, pay 50 cents for it. Love this for me. 1957 copy of A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway. This is a Scribner hardcover. These blue Scribner hardcovers I will always pick up when I get them at the bins because they always sell for me between the $10 and $20 range depending on the actual book. I've bought and sold not just A Farewell to Arms by Ernest Hemingway multiple times, but other works from this series. They all sell, and since I'm getting them for 50 cents at the bins, if I know I can sell it for $10 to $20, it's an easy yes for me. And then people pass on because they don't have barcodes because these are from the 50s. This is another thank you to a viewer. A lot of viewer sales. I do believe this is the first week I started. Actually, I started the series where I'm doing the death pile, and I think you guys are trying to support me in that. But there were a lot of viewer sales this week, which is really great. This is Nancy, who's bought several books for me at this point. So Nancy, I do appreciate your continued support for like the last year or two, actually. I think it's been a couple years now, but I have really appreciated your support this year. It's a vintage Cats and Bats and Things like that. Now this is a Wonderworld Books, and this is a faith-based children's book. It sold for $8.47. I just thought it was cute because it had cats on it. So this is Garnet Hill. I was told Garnet Hill does well. It's a catalog brand. So I figured I'd try it. I paid $5.80 for this. It sold for $13.50. Maybe not this again, but I will keep trying it and see how it does. And that was actually the last item for this week. So thank you guys so much for watching this. This is just the stuff that sold on my not live selling platforms, not Whatnot. But I hope you guys watch this, and thank you. Bye. Bye. Hero, hero. I wanna be a hero, hero.